There are so many benefits of coming to the UK. Oh, um, there are so many, and the opportunities that are there, there are plenty and plentiful. The opportunity to study, first of all, it's just great. You're getting access to good universities, good educators, tutors, lecturers, and students, and a different system of education where it's more about thinking and questioning things. It is just brilliant, and um, being able to do other fun stuff like visiting the football stadiums and watching matches, the experience is wow. Being able to visit big, huge, world-renowned sites like Buckingham Palace if you're in the UK, going to see the Queen. It's absolutely an really, really breathtaking moments that they will never depart from your memories. And there's so many benefits of coming here, and especially, particularly, access to work opportunities or jobs. You can work as if you've got the right um, visas to work, you can work as much as you can, whichever job you'd want to do based on your qualifications and based on your capability, and being able to support yourself and being able to support your family back at home, especially us as the diasporas. It's actually, you feel like a valuable member of society. African people are strong and they bring so much into the country. They're hardworking, they do jobs that no one else wants to do. They're caring, they're on different shifts in different healthcare settings, doing that which no one else would want to put themselves through. And they're there with a smile. Despite all the pain, despite all the racism, despite all the looking down that they get experience every day, they're still moving on. And it is important for people to listen to their stories, feel their pain, and not only just feel it, but give them a bit of dignity.
So, stereotypes. What happens when some people, not all of them, some people, when they meet me first time, is they probably think I can't speak English. They probably think I've got a virus, like HIV or something, or something crazy like that. And now with the COVID happening, they think I'm a carrier of it. Some people think that because I've got dreadlocks, so I'm rough, I smoke weed. They associate dreadlocks with Bob Marley and believe that everybody that has dreadlocks is a Rastafarian and smokes weed and live rough. They think, they see me as an immigrant, someone that is here because of the benefits, that is here to steal jobs, and all this nasty stuff. And because of that, because it's not everybody, I'll be honest, it's not everybody that does that, but for the few or the many that do that, they miss on what Zangi has to offer. They miss on the good side, the creative side, the fun side that I bring with me, my culture. They miss on that. For those that are nice, kind, that when they see me, they see a human being first, then they get the best of me, then I get the best of them. And yeah, so it's sad that that's the first thing that comes into people's heads when they see black people.
I've been asked about racism, which you can come across it even while you're living here because of the different races between white and black. And I've experienced racism, and it's there. And as I understand, racism is where one feels the other race does not deserve to be there. And you don't respect them, you don't want to recognize them. just don't exist and they have a lower, inferior race than you are. And so that makes you to feel negative about them, you stereotype them. So it's there in the community, in the schools, in the workplace, and it's something that can be changed. And how can we change this racism? Once we realize we are all created the same, we love and love the same, we hurt the same, we heal the same way, the process is still the same, and you come to realize we are all human beings and we can live together peacefully and joyfully in the community, in the family unit, and in the workplaces. All can be fair.
So basic stereotypes in the UK are based on English. The fact that I am black, I am not expected to understand English. That's a stereotype. So black people do not understand English because English is not their first language. That's an assumption and it is false. You can't taint everybody with the same brush. So here's a fact. When people learn English as a second language, they actually learn it grammatically correct. They learn it the proper way. They know how to structure sentences the right way. When people are born into a native country that speaks English as a first language, what you get is a variation of the two. You will find people who actually esteem the quality of English and keep it as it should be, which is what happens with the Queen's English. But a lot of the people will speak slang English. And slang English is broken English. So I could go to Leicester and I will get in it as opposed to isn't it, which is the proper way of saying the same statement or phrase. So what I mean is, what I speak may not sound accentually, like from an accent basis. It may not sound like the English you're used to hearing, but it is grammatically correct. When I write it and when I speak it, it's grammatically correct. So for that reason, it's a stereotype. What happens is when I encounter such situations, I have to deal with them up front, because that assumption is usually born of ignorance. And when people are surrounded by the same people over and over again, they end up sharing the same assumptions. So if people think like you, talk like you, act like you, and in your same relational sphere and look like you, chances are you will not learn beyond what they think. Therefore, when I find such stereotypes and when I find racist or racism situations, I usually have to deal with it firsthand and call it out immediately so that it is never repeated. And secondly, to give somebody the opportunity, even if it's for their first time in their life, to learn that whatever they said and that assumption is wrong. It's a means of correcting them.
The perception about the UK or Europe or any other country in the West is always a good land flowing with opportunities, a place with technology, and something really, really positive. Where you don't have poverty and things, you've got good healthcare, you've got good financial systems, you've got good education. So those perceptions are what most people feel about coming to Europe or America, or in that case any other country in the West which is doing very well. So yeah, that was the perception I personally had when I was coming into the UK, and the kind of opportunities that I would be having into the country. Yes, and of course, coming into the country, those opportunities were there, and but the systems are different. So when you're coming from a different country and you're landing and you're having to work out what the systems are, probably if you don't have good qualifications to start at the level where it's needed, you'll have to work from bottom up. And it's not an easy thing, especially if you don't have people, the support that you expect.
So in the UK, every system, so like I said, there's covert racism and overt racism. Covert racism is what ends up being systemic racism. And every system in the UK, when you analyze it, it is designed to discriminate against immigrants. So, and it's used, whether it's the housing system, whether it's the immigration system, whether it's the education system, they are all designed to discriminate against the immigrant, even professionally. So it would take me longer or twice as long to get the same job as it would somebody who is from this country. People have different thoughts on that, people have different views on that, but those are the barriers that people like me end up facing. Does that mean I cannot do the same job? No, it just means that most often I end up applying for jobs I'm overqualified for just so I can get a job. Right?
I'd say at first it was more of just because as an African, they didn't think I knew stuff. They didn't think I was educated in any way. They thought that, you know, that coming from Kenya, you're coming from the jungle and you live with animals and that kind of style. So I remember I won't say, but a specific family that was shocked that I knew how to use a knife and a fork and, you know, all that kind of stuff. To begin with, whenever I would be in a working environment, I would seen as someone that needs to be told what to do. They didn't think that that I could contribute in any way, and in some cases I would contribute something and they'd have to check it, they'd have to Google it, and if it was factual and it was something that they didn't know, they didn't actually take it until they knew it, or they would just like ignore it, and then after some time, like a day later, they would come up with the same idea that I came up, but then at that it would be a good idea because it came from them. So that was huge. But what experience has taught me is when you're good at what you do, when your results are evident, then they respect that. It kind of like takes away the barriers. So when you're good at what you do, be it art, music, dance, whatever it is, if you step out and you execute, then those barriers kind of like diminish a little bit. But before you do that, there's always that barrier, there's always that doubt that they have where they don't think you can do it or you can hack it. So so that kind of like is frustrating because not until you do something, you don't have an opportunity. And like another person of a different color who would just by the name, just having a certain name gives you an opportunity compared to mine. Where, you know, I have to spell my surname every time I say it. So there's loads of barriers, but once you've done something about it, once you've shown some results, then things starts to get easier. So yeah.
Positive perceptions about African people? I don't feel as if there is any. Perhaps maybe there's someone out there who you feel that people perceive you positively, because when I look at it, is that we are perceived as waste men. We don't work. We are here to take other people's jobs, yet we don't work. We are not intelligent. We don't speak English. We can't solve any problem. We are just there to take and not to contribute at all. So to me, I don't feel any positive perceptions about African black people in Europe or in UK at the moment.
So like I said, the most prevalent type of racism is covert racism or systemic racism. And systemic racism can only be changed by conversations. You cannot legislate thought, but you can have conversations with people where you teach people that the way they think is actually racist. The precursor to this, the prerequisite to this, is that somebody is willing to learn. And so it's having those tables, it's having those conversations, it's having those spaces where people are made to feel safe enough to have uncomfortable, and of course there are going to be imperfect conversations, but it's an opportunity for people who have all of a sudden become aware that there's systemic racism and therefore they want to learn. So I think that is one way we can deal with racism and covert racism for that reason, because it's only conversations that can change thought processes. There are no laws that can change it. And as you have these conversations, hopefully they will change how people design products, how people design businesses, and how people design systems, such that they become inclusive and just systems. Most of the systems that I've talked about right now are non-just and non-inclusive, but we want to shift that, and the only way you can shift that as of right now is having those intrinsic important conversations.
So what needs to change? People need to get informed. People need to be educated about the black culture, about Africa. Africa is not a jungle. Africa is not a forest. Africa is an amazing continent. Africa is not one country. And just because I'm from Africa, I don't know everybody in Africa. People just need to learn the history about Africa. People need to be educated about Black lives. People need to ask. Stop assuming. And don't always Google. Like, if you want to know something about my country, find a Kenyan, ask them about where they come from, because Google doesn't always say everything accurately. You want to know about Ghana, find a Ghanaian, talk to them. We won't get offended if you're genuinely interested in knowing about our culture. So stop assuming that we are this and that because the media told you this. And by that, then we'll be in a better place. We'll respect each other, we'll understand each other, we will value each other, because there's so many things that we can offer each other. And so the more we're educated about each other's culture, the better and the easier life will be. So yeah, I think that needs to change. People just need info. People need knowledge. Knowledge is power. People need to be educated. And yeah, if you can pay for that, you can get it for free. Just get someone, find someone, talk to somebody, and yeah, I think that will help you and help me.
The racism can begin also from being changed from the family unit, where if you've noticed, children don't know color. They don't know white or black until they come across the guardians or the parents telling them that so and so is like that, or don't play with whoever because they are this way or they are this color. And so you grow up with this attitude of something about a certain race. And also, I believe that teaching racism or the cultures of other people all over the world is important in the schooling system, so that children, as they grow, they realize it's just not about a certain race. It's about a world that is made up of so many races, so many different kinds of people, so many different colors of people, and we can all live together. We are all created the same way. So it's a few things that can be done to change this, because racism can be erased. Racism can be erased so that everybody lives in peace with each other. Thank you.